This is a fun story. So I got this book 10 years ago because I saw on Facebook one of my friends share like, "Oh, this is amazing," and as I was watching her, how she really became more creative and her art was like, it was so fascinating for me. So I was like, oh yeah, I also want to be more creative. So I got the book and I started to read it, but it looked like, it's a lot of work. It's not necessary to write down everything there. There are tasks every week, and I was just like, I was reading that, and I just tried to like put it together in my mind, like, okay, got it, next. And there was the task, like, try to remember or find the moment, like, when you got blocked, like if someone criticized you or just things like that. And I realized there was no one moment like that in my life. Back then I thought like it means that I'm not a blocked artist, because actually I'm not artist at all, and I just put the book away and that was it. 1.5 years ago I decided like, I would love to become an artist. I was like, let's try that. And I thought that it's just a game. And I took this book again. But this time I started to really like write down all the exercises, and I just did the work. I got to the point when I realized like, okay, I'm actually not blocked. This time I understood that it's not because I'm not an artist. It was because I've never take this like realistic option. So this was for the first time when I started to think like, okay, what I could at least try. And so I did that. I started at the beginning of the last year in January, and it was such a beautiful journey. And now it's after 1 year and roughly 2 or 3 months. Now I feel like now I'm blocked artist. So finally this book could be useful for me. But what I realized about the like artist block, it's not like a real block, it's nothing physical, like it's not like I can't paint. I feel like I just can't, but look at my hands, everything is okay. I can just take the paint and just do that physically. But what is it's not even that I'm uncreative. The problem is it's just the ego thing, because I have a vision. I know what to paint, what I would love to paint, but the gap between the skills that are required to accomplish that and my current skills, like, there's a big gap. And my ego doesn't want to feel, hard, like, and just face the reality, like, okay, I'm just not skilled enough. And it's just painful and frustrating when you just try and there is this vision, and then you have to look at your creation and see like, it doesn't look like my vision, and I'm just not able to do that yet. And in this case, the most logical thing would be like, okay, let's practice, so after some time I will hopefully be able to achieve my vision. But what I do instead, I don't even start because it's like I don't want to face the pain, and but this way I will never get to that point. And also what I realized about my artistic journey, it's like when you fall in love with someone and the first year it's like wow, everything is perfect, and you're still in this like bubble, and you see only the highlights and everything is just perfect. But after roughly 1 year, you start to realize, like, okay, but this person is not only, this ideal person, and you start to see also some flaws. And with my artist dream, it's the same. The first year, everything was so new and exciting, and it was so joyful. And yes, there were some phases when I felt like, oh, I can't, but then I overcame that and I enjoyed it again, and I was in love with all of my creation. And now, after 1 year, I started to realize, like, I saw only the highlights. But now I just need to accept, okay, these are highlights. These are like, it's very real, so joyful and exciting, and yes, it's like, I love it. But at the same time, there is some kind of baseline, and then there are also very unpleasant parts of this journey, very painful and frustrating moments, and I just have to accept it. It was the same when I tried to learn to ride a horse. And again, I had this dream how I'm galloping free in nature, the wind in my hair. But the journey to that, it took me years that were painful and frustrating and not very satisfying, because I was constantly falling over the horse. It was painful. A horse didn't respect me because I didn't know how to communicate with him, and it was frustrating for most of the time in those first years, until I got to the point when I feel really free because I'm connected with the horse, and we built together trust and respect. It was so worth it, but it took me years. With art, it's the same. And also, my expectations are so unrealistic. Like, if someone goes to school, you just need to pay a lot in those 4 or 5 or I don't know how many years. I just didn't do that. So what do I expect from myself? Yeah, it's just this impatience, because I feel like, okay, I started quite late. I started at 55. I don't know how many years I have, and so I'm more impatient, and I put more pressure on myself. Yeah, I want faster results, but it doesn't work like that. Okay, so hopefully this is the end of my artist's blog for now, and please let me know in the comments if you also need to go through something like that, and how do you deal with that. Okay, see you by the next video. Bye!